Hey everyone, it's Krista here with Blooms and Brushstrokes, and today we are going to paint a little Christmas card. It's a bit of an impromptu video, but I was feeling like I needed to do a little bit of painting, so I thought, may as well video what we're doing because then we have some content. So anyways, I tried to already video this beginning part one time, and I forgot to turn my microphone on. So I'm using a microphone today because somebody gave me some feedback saying that it sounded a little tinny. And I try to edit the audio best I can, but I guess I didn't do a very good job in that very first video. So I am using this microphone, but they're not the greatest. I'm waiting on another one to come and hopefully it'll be better. I've tried a few different ones, you guys. And oh, there's one at the ranch too that's actually decent. That goes right on top kind of your phone or in this little tripod. But anyway, so I'm trying out this microphone. We'll see how we do with it. They're not the greatest. They're very inexpensive, but we're trying it out. Anyways, you guys, so what we're trying to do today is we're going to stretch this paper out, and that is by taping it down. Now, because I already did this, I already have it taped, but I'll peel one up for you guys. So when you do take them off, you do want to do it very slowly, which I'll show you guys again when we're all done, but you just want to make sure you're taking it off uber slow because you don't want to rip your paper, so that you're going to take that off very slowly. Okay, so you want to tape down, and I was mentioning this in the other video that didn't work out. Masking tape is kind of ideal because it's not quite as strong as a painter's tape, but this roll is hideous. It's awful. I don't know. It must have come from like the box store or something, but it's like every time I peel a piece of it, it just doesn't even come. It doesn't come like it just is awful. It's like the worst. I got to throw it away actually. So I'm using this painter's tape. And you want to basically go around the edges of your painting, and you want to tape off about the same amount of border around the whole thing. And you can just eyeball it. You don't have to be crazy about it. It's okay. Sometimes perfection comes in imperfection. So yeah. And then I don't know if you guys can see very well, but there was a little bit of paint on my edges from our previous painting. You can see a little bit in my book here, and that's okay because we're covering that up, and if we need to cut it off later, that's fine. But don't overthink those things, because honestly, you will think yourself out of creating art if you get too crazy about those little things. Obviously, as we, if you're gonna go make a masterpiece and you're gonna sell it, you're gonna be careful about those little pieces. But for us, we're just learning and we're just growing, so we're not going to stress about it. So what I did is I actually sprayed down my paper with this, and I'm not going to spray it too much because I've already done it once, but I just sprayed down my paper, and then I used my big flat brush, and I just moved that water around and just got it evenly wet throughout the whole thing. I just only used that because I forgot to fill up water, but I'll go do that right now after this while this is drying. Okay, so I'm just going to spread it up and down there, you guys, and then maybe across just to make sure it's evenly distributed across the paper. There's like little dust pieces in here. Oh boy. Okay, so there we have it. So we're going to let that dry for about 20 minutes or till it's pretty dry to touch, and then we're going to sketch out what we're doing. We're going to do, I've decided we're going to do a little painting of a Christmas tree here on this one. So it'll just be easy. It'll be fun. It'll just be something fun for us to do and to try out. And then you guys can maybe give it away as a gift or something. Oh, and then the other thing I was going to mention too is that the paper I'm using came out of this Canson book that I'm actually using. And so this is what we've been using all along, this one. The pages are perforated, so you can take it out. You can just take out the page and then use it. So if you guys don't have a book and you're just using paper, you don't have a block and you're just using paper, this is probably something that you're going to want to do before you do each painting. I mean, we could do it too, because as you can see, the page is like bending upwards. That's what happens. It just kind of makes it a little bit wonky if you don't pre-wet the paper. But because we're just in our learning phase right now, we're not too stressed about it. But if you want to get a good practice going on, you can use the tape on all of them. You can take out all your pages and use the tape. Maybe I'll use it for some, maybe I won't. This This is a paper block. So it's actually glued down all the edges all the way around. Sorry, you guys, I have a little bit of a tickle in my throat today, except for one little spot here. And then you just kind of go in with a knife and then you just open it all up. I could show you guys with this one because it's done. Good old steak knife. Because that's how we roll around here. There's probably an actual tool for this, but it's way too classy for us. So yeah, so you just go around and it's got glue. This pad was a gift from a friend. Oh, I absolutely love it. I'd like to get some in a few different various sizes. Okay, so you want to make sure you're using something sharp because the glue can be a bit sticky. And then you just roll around it and then voila. And so that holds it down while you're painting it, so you don't need to have tape on it like that. So these are a little bit pricey, so I think I only have one left on there. I got to go to the art store and get some more because I'm highly, ooh, look at that. Ooh, I'm highly obsessed with this. So these blocks are amazing, but that's a different thing to use as well. And if you want to, go ahead and use it. They're just a little bit more pricey. Okay, oh, of course I got something on there. That's okay. I'm just gonna let this finish up drying and then I'll get back with you guys in just a few minutes. Oh, and also if you want to speed up your drying, you can use a blow dryer. You can just go over it quickly with a blow dryer and that speeds it up. Being a hairstylist and all, don't have a blow dryer at home. I took my backup one to work because sometimes you just never know what happens. And I think I need to bring it back home because I might need it. Now, if I'm going to be doing all these videos, I think I'm going to need it to speed things up a bit. So anyway, I'm going to wait about 20 minutes or until it feels good already, but I want it to feel a little bit more dry. So I'll be back here in just a minute with you guys and we will carry on with our Christmas card. Okay, you guys, hopefully this is going to work out. I also need to grab a bit of a new stand for my kitchen island so that I don't bump it everywhere, but this is what we're going to roll with here. So I'm still not very prepared because we're just going to draw this out. So I'm thinking we're going to do a little something. I've done a card like this kind of in the past where we kind of do, well, we'll sketch out the bottom part here. Okay, so we'll just do, just trying to think of what design on it. I think we want to do the ones that's like a teardrops. So we're just doing this teardrop shape. This is going to be our tree. You know, it's going to be a little bit different than your classic. Hopefully you guys can see. Yep, it looks like it's coming okay. I should do it a little bit darker actually. And I'm just making these teardrop shapes, again, sketching in what we're going to do just because we want to have our form so that we don't get too carried away. And this is what we'll go with. And we'll do, let's just go with, we'll go with one more, I guess. Why not? And then this will be our tree stump. And we'll go with that. So that's our outline of our tree that we are going to do. And it kind of looks wonky right now. I know you guys, but we're just going to have fun with it. So make sure you're all set to go. We've got all of our supplies. Well, I'm not really that ready yet. I don't know. This whole impromptu thing, I didn't even get ready. I just thought, so I've got these Mungyo paints again. Just because that's what's in front of me. I'm going to get my water. And my paper towel I'm grabbing while you guys can't see me. I hear that like crazy. Gosh. I am super ill prepared. Okay. All right. So I want to do, I'm not going to do quite our traditional, I mean, we are a little bit, but oh, that might be loud, the microphone. Trying to get used to the sound of this little microphone. So I'm just going to spray my paints to activate them with my lovely dollar store water bottle, $1.50. This thing will be just perfect for us. Okay. Oh. So I'm going to use, this is going to be my, do I want this one? I want my go-to. I'm going to go with my number 6 round. This Princeton Neptune one. I'm going to use that one. It's one of my go-tos. I love it. Easy to use. Okay, so again, here we're going to do a few different techniques on this one. So why not? So I hope you guys can all see me where I'm at here. So I'm going to do some wet on wet and wet on dry and all that stuff. So first of all, we're going to start off here at the top, and I'm going to do drop down. Oh no, it's okay. That's a bad one. Why didn't I get that all cleaned up? That's strange. That's a poor thing to do, is to have your paintbrush dry with paint on it. I don't know what happened there. Well, let's go pick it up and see if we can get that mostly off there. Yep. So that's the trick, you know, you can just take I mean, it's pretty good. You can see there's a little pink tinge there, but I'm not stressed about that because this is a Christmas tree. But yeah, you can take your paper towel and lift up whatever color's down there. That's super strange. Huh? Mustn't have cleaned it out very good. Okay, so I'm going to drop down. I want to start with that one. We also want to work our way from the top to the bottom, because then our hand is not going to be sliding in all of the paint. So we're going to be working our way this way. So we've got our first one there, and I think we're going to do like multicolors, you guys. So I think I'm going to start the top. Well, we'll start the top with a green because, you know, that's what we're up to here. It's a Christmas tree. And I'm just going to use whatever green kind of I have on my, you guys can't see that super great. I'm just using whatever green I have in my tray already. So you can pick whatever color you please, and you can dab it out and whatever. Check it out. Make sure it's the color that you want. I have loads of different greens on this, like lots of different ones. So it's just, this is the green I'm using. I've just mixed kind of whatever, and I'm just using that. You can add in anything you want to make it whatever color of green you want, or you can choose whatever color you want. So I'm just going to go on there, and I'm just going to drop that down. And this one's going to be a little bit different. We're not going to be making it as wild and crazy as our poinsettia. Okay, so I want to leave a little bit of, you know, lightness on the edges. I don't want to like totally fill it in. And so I'm going to pick up some of that. And remember, we want to always work light to dark. So if you know that you're going to want to add more color to this bad boy, you don't want to go too dark off the get-go, okay? So we just want to get in there, pick up some of that paint, and that's all good. So that's going to be our first little green one. We're going to skip a row because that's still wet, and we're not going to run, we don't want anything to run into that while it's too wet on this tree. Now maybe you do, and if you do, that's fine. Then you can just start going ahead on here, but this is probably a little bit wet yet, the top one, because it might just all of a sudden run too much together. So you might want to dry a little bit. So for us, we're going to get down into this row here because it's, there's nothing touching it that's wet. And so we're going to work on, you know, every other one. And so we're going to get this in there. I don't know. Let's say a little bit of green on that one too. This will kind of work out good because I don't want it to be, we're going to use different colors, but I don't want them to all be like, I don't want it to be too crazy, like too much of a rainbow, but of course you can do any color you dang well please. So we're going to do green on that one, and I'm going to do green on this one here too, I think. Yeah, I'll do green on this one. And remember, we're just putting down our first layer. So I drop the water down a bit, and it's okay to leave some spots white, you guys. Like that's kind of the, like this little part here. Can you see that? Yeah, on the edge there, that's white. We're just going to leave that because I didn't totally get it all wet. So we're just going to do that. And then This one here, we don't need it to touch. We'll go green there. And just drop that color down. All good. So then in our bottom row, and I'm only going to put one green one in there because I just don't want it to look too symmetrical, too, you know, I just don't want to look just a little free. You'll hear me say that lots because I don't really know like how else to describe it. I just don't want it to look so perfect. Although when we're done, it's going to look perfect. And that's what's amazing. It's like it's imperfectly perfect. And that's kind of the nice thing about painting, and my style of painting is just a little bit more like that. And I think there's lots of people that have that kind of flowy style of painting, which is cool. You just somehow landed on my page. And so we're just going around with our green and we're just kind of dropping that in there. And that's cool. Let's go this one here. So again, I'm kind of watching where I place them just so that they're not running into the other green ones, you know, and just they're not going to be blooming into any other one. And that's just what I want. I just want to kind of have more of a crisp color for now. That might change as we go along, but just for this first layer that we're putting down, I just want it to kind of be that. Okay, cool. Now you kind of can dab. Now, like the top one's still wet, so we've kind of, it's a little too wet. It's drying though. So it's going to take us a minute to get these all dry, but you can see there's like areas where there's, you know, this one here is hardly touching. We can kind of work around that. So next up, I'm going to go in and I actually am going to do this one here that is hardly touching. And it's okay if they bleed or bloom into the other one. That's totally fine. So I think on this one, I'm actually going to use a bit of a reddy orange brown, I think. So we're going to drop that in there too. And I drop it down and then I go pick up color. And that's just kind of the beauty of doing that wet on wet, is that you can go and kind of play around and pick that up a little easier. If we did like wet on dry, it'd be pretty pronounced. And I think it'd be maybe too intense for where we're going at with this. So I think for right now, we're just going to stick with doing our wet on wet at this present moment. Just trying to find one that's not too attached to any. Maybe I'll go with this one. This is kind of ballsy because we just don't want to get too close to the edges, and that's a-okay. And it's all good. If it does bleed into the other ones, that's totally fine. I just kind of want to get a bit of I just want to see there to be differentiation between these kind of little teardrop shapes. And I mean, this would be a humongous card to give to somebody when we're using that. So you could even fold it in half, but this is just like an inspo kind of pic. So like just the picture, but so we'll drop yeah, let's be crazy. It's kind of drying up, so we'll do that. Amazing. I definitely do want to have a little bit more brown. Just, you know, okay, we're gonna go put it in here too. Whoops, I bumped the camera. Sorry, guys. And where else do I want a brown? We'll do this one over here. Okay. I think that might be, maybe we should drop one down here or something. Maybe. Okay, so since we have our brown out, let's go do a little bit on the stump. So I'm just getting the whole stump wet pretty much. And then we'll just, I got another brown going on there. So you can mix up whatever color brown you want or just grab a brown out of your tray. And then we're just going to go drop that in there. And we're going to leave the one side pretty white, and that's just going to help us to add a little bit of kind of dimension to our stump. Okay. What other color? We kind of have these goldy kind of looking colors, so I think I'm going to use a little bit of that. Okay, so I'm going to go over here on this side, and I got a little bit of that gold on there already, but that's okay. I don't know, I'm just kind of feeling like, ooh, that was a little heavy on that, but that's all right. I kind of like the idea of it just being a little bit more earth tones. I don't know why, I'm just kind of feeling that right now. So as you can see, I'm leaving, oh, wrong color, Krista. As you can see, I am leaving like a little bit of white in some of them, and that's just going to help create just like, you know, some interest. It's going to create that look of having light in a particular spot, that a spot is brighter than the rest. And so that's what's going to happen there when we leave these white little dots, white little spots in there. And that's kind of like, you know, they don't all have to have that, but it's just something you can add into your painting. And then when you are dropping down your wet, just don't drop water everywhere, you know, just kind of, and you'll see it'll move around it. And that's totally cool. And that just gives the look of like a light, not like a light bulb per se, but look of lightness. Okay, so you can see here I'm bleeding a little bit into my brown, but that's okay. That's totally fine. They're similar in color, and you can see it's kind of going into the green a little bit too, and that's okay too. I just didn't want them to become like just a brownie green. Like I just want them to be like we can see that there's difference in the colors there. So that's cool. Let's go this one here. Ooh, I like that gold color. Okay, it's bleeding into that green too. And the reason it's kind of bleeding into it a little bit more than I would expect is that I am putting water down, and then my page wasn't 100% dry either. So there's a little bit of moisture going on in there, but that is all good. Like we're not too concerned about that because that's partly what we like about the watercolor and all that good stuff. So I'm going to put a gold one down here too. And again, you guys, you do not have to use the same colors as me. You can use whatever lights up your life and inspires you. You can use any color, just yeah, whatever brings you joy. And again, like I've said in the past in my intro and all that stuff, it's like I love to feel what's going on in my painting. I don't love to like plan it too much. I mean, I do a little bit, but if you start planning things too intensively, you kind of miss out on that opportunity for just like a bit of a kind of a therapeutic, meditative painting session. You know, when you're just overthinking it too much. And I understand that's not how some people can work. Like some artists do not operate like that. I have friends that are just the opposite, where they're super technical and that's just not their jam. But for me, this is what I love, and this is kind of my style. So, okay, I like the idea that there's a little bit of white in there, to be honest. So, I don't know. I do want like one more. I need something. A little, it's missing something. Not blue, not purple. Is it missing like maybe just a different brighter green? Just because it is a tree, maybe I'm missing that element of it. So I'm going to go with a pretty bright limey green. And I think I'm going to fill in the rest of the squares with the squares, the kind of the water droplet looking shapes with that. So we're just going to get those all down there. I think that this green is kind of a party. It's kind of like a lime green. I think that's gonna, I like the idea of having some white in there, but I think it's just too, I just need a little bit more green, I think. And that's cool. This one's still pretty wet. It's bleeding in there pretty good, but that's okay. Could also be from the water I dropped down and it kind of pooling into the other one. And I'm just throwing them in there pretty roughly, you guys. Like, we're just really just, you know, some of the colors bleeding into the other color. Some of it's, you know, we're just not going to be too intense about that exactly. But if you're one of those people that kind of needs more of that, you need more togetherness, like more defined, I guess. Defined is what I'm trying to look for. Then you might want to, I'm actually going to, that's okay. We're going to roll with it. Okay, so we've got our first layer down now, so that's awesome. And we're going to go in now with our second layer. And this is where we're going to create a little bit of, you know, a little bit more depth in each teardrop shape. And so we're going to go in and we're going to go a little bit heavier on the color, you guys. So I'm going to take this deeper green. Oh, that's kind of pretty. And because I don't want this video to take forever, I'm going to go quite heavy on the green right now and probably only do a couple layers on this one, but you can always add more. Just gonna let those dry. I'm gonna let those dry a few more minutes because it is still pretty moist. Okay, so we are now gonna go on top of here with wet brush, dry paper, or like semi-dry, 3/4 dry. And so we're gonna think about what we want. So I think I want it to look like almost that there's like snow on the tips of each of these a little bit, or like, you know, lightness on the bit. So I'm gonna leave like, and by tips, I mean, I don't mean the tip, I mean where the water droplet would be down here. So that's like kind of where I've left some of that whiteness. So that's what I'm gonna do and leave that green as the undercolor. So I'm gonna go in there and just bring that color down, and we're gonna leave. Now we're gonna just have a clean brush or clean-ish brush with medium amount of water on it. So you want to dab some of that off, and then we're just gonna drag that color around a bit so it's not so heavy on the base. Just like that. And just like that. Okay, and so we're gonna work with this one on the top here. We're like, okay, we like that. That looks good so far, but maybe we want to lift a little color out of there. Well, you just take your brush that's dry, so get it clean, dry off your brush, and you can go in and lift a little bit more of that paint. Oh, and say, hey, you know what, we like that, but we'd like a little bit of darkness around the edges. So okay, we like that green, but we're gonna add a little dark, we're actually gonna add a little black into that green to darken it up a teeny bit more. Again, if you need to know more about color theory, that's a whole other can of worms, and that's not what we're doing here. So just play around with what we got going on. So I just want to go in and add darkness around the edge here. So I've dropped a bit more of that darker color while it's still wet around the edge. And then I'm going to leave it. I like the way that looks. I think that looks pretty. I like it's blooming into the other color. You know, it is kind of taking over a little bit, but that's okay. It's going to dry a little bit more mute than what is happening on there. But if you wanted to go in and clean up some of that paint, if it's just like a little bit too much, you can see it's kind of moving pretty far into the middle and not a lot of lightness. Again, you can go pick up some of that paint. And that's all good. So, but I do like that one, so we're not going to tamper with it anymore. And so we're just going to work with different tones and shades of each color as we go through. And just to get some like dimension, but it's like nice to have that like underlying color under there to add the highlight, you know. So now that one's really wet, so we want to go along, and these ones are still pretty damp. We can do this one over here. Now we don't have to use the same color we just used. we don't have to at all. We can do anything in this one, but we have a green base there. And so I do want to stick with green, but you know what, like, let's say we want to add just a little bit of a different color into that green, you know, just a little bit of a, we can do that. We can do anything, anything, anything. Okay, so we're going to drop that down, and I did wet it a little bit before, just so we can have a little bit of a more, you know, a little bit more flow of that green. And the top one we did wet on dry. This one I did wet it a little bit, not significantly, but just enough. Just gonna go pick that up a bit. Again, leaving the look of that lightness down here, and I'm going to pick up some of that color. And again, I like the idea of kind of having that like dimension with the deeper, you know, kind of tones and like the shadowy kind of look to it. So I'm going to go in there with that one. I'll add a little bit of black to that one too. Black is an intense color to use. I'd say if you're going to mix something with a black, use it very sparingly. It can really, really destroy a whole entire painting. It's too much, and once you go too much, you can't go back from it. So use it very sparingly if you're going to use it, but my best advice at this point would be just to use the different colors in your palette, or like darkening a green with a darker green. Like if you're using a lighter green, then add a little bit of a darker green into it. That one's really pretty. You know what? I think I'm going to do something kind of crazy here. I'm going to take a different green. I'm actually going to just drop a little bit of this one here and let that bloom into that one. And you know what? I'm actually going to put a little in this too. So you can see there where it's just like going to bloom into the color and just add some different texture, different lightness to those. I think those are going to look really pretty. Those are awesome. As you can see, I get super jazzed when it comes to color. I love it. It's just fun to work with. Okay. Just trying to feel these out. That's interesting where some is more wet. Let's go up here in this one here. It's pretty dry, but it's okay. So I think I'm going to take some of this lighter color that we dropped in there, and I'm going to do that one in that. Ooh, too much water on there. It's a bit too light compared to what we got going on. I should have went wet on dry on this one, but that's okay. Okay, I like that. And I'm going to add in a little bit of darkness up here. I guess I should say too, like when I'm dropping down the color, so I've already made this wet, and then I added color on top of it, so it's still pretty wet. You don't want to go in with a really, really wet brush. You want to be kind of medium, let's say 50%, 25% to 50% water on your paintbrush. You don't want to go in there full tilt, because then you're going to end up with a big mess. But again, what we can do when we end up with a big mess, like we got a bit too much water going on here, is maybe just go dry off your brush on your paper towel. So we dry it off. It doesn't need to be totally clean. And you can go in and pick up. You can see, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. And then you can help with that if you end up getting a big mess going on there, which we work with the messes. We're not too concerned about them, but we do work with them, and whatever. So we're just going to go for it. But yeah, watercolor is the whole idea. Like you want to have, you know, your water. And again, we're kind of breaking the rules here a little bit because we're doing the dark green, but that's because of what we started with. You know, where we say work lighter to darker. This is okay because we're just going to we're happy with whatever is going on here. Because we would say work from lighter to darker. So technically we are kind of working lighter to darker. We're working on these lighter green ones. But just because that was the first ones that are dry, we could be working on these light brown and light gold ones as well, but we're kind of breaking the rules a little bit. And that's the thing with watercolor. Rules are meant to be broken, so we're just having fun. We're already breaking rules. It's all good. That's how I roll. So yeah, I'm just kind of feeling them out to see which dries. For whatever reason, up in the middle here, it's not super dry yet, but the edges are a bit more dry, so that's good. I just don't want to bleed into those. So I'm going to go with this. Yeah, that's still a bit wet because I'm going to go with this lime green one here on the side. I'm actually going to go, I'm just going to leave that one dry, and I'm going to go with wet on dry here. So we're going to pick up our lime green. I want it to be pretty freaking intense. So we got that just like that. And we want that to be good and juicy in there. So, and I'm going to let that one be just like that because I love that brightness. If anything, you could add some yellow into it because that would make it kind of fun. Here, let's try a little bit of yellow just because why not? But we could just like add, a little drop of yellow just to add that extra brightness. Again, we don't want it to dry. Like you can see this one's drying a little bit interesting because of how wet it was, but that's okay. Love that. Love that. Okay, you guys, so we're just going to carry on. I'm just going to carry on with doing all this so we don't take forever going in there. But yeah, you can see where I'm just playing around, adding some color in. We're just going to speed this up a little bit so that we're not here for 3 days. And then, yeah, we can check it out once we're done all the paint, and then we're going to get on with the fun stuff. So let it dry really good before we go in with the ink and the do you want to do silver on this today? Let's do silver. I haven't used silver in a while, so it's Christmassy. Maybe look like, we'll see what we'll do here, but we're going to use silver. Windsor Newton ink. We're going to use the silver one for this. Why not? We're going to shake it up. The one thing with these things, you've got to shake them up quite a bit because they settle on the bottom pretty good. Yeah, and you'll be able to see it start to like, I don't know if you guys can see it bubbling on the one side there a little bit. So it's starting to break it up. Just takes a while. Oh yeah, so you can see down there, it's starting to come off the bottom of it, but you just got to shake the crap out of it to get her good. And then of course we're going to use our Micron. Which one's this? This is our 03, which is my go-to. I used the 01 the other day and actually I liked it, so I'll be probably using that a bit more. All right, you guys, so this is dry. It's going to be dry enough. It's like a little bit moist in some spots, but not too bad. So we're just going to go for it, and we're going to go in with the silver, like I said, because it's Christmas. I mean, gold's Christmassy too, but I'm heavy on the gold. I like it way better than this silver, but I'm going to try something for fun because we're just having fun. So anyways, what I'm going to do is just go around these babies and kind of just add a little glitz to them. And it doesn't need to be all over them. It can just be one little off the side. I was going to fix that one, but I never did. This one we can just do whatever to add a little bit of that in there. And so, yeah, we're just adding that, just a little bit of something because I love this. I love a metallic. I don't know why. Maybe it's cheesy. I don't know, but I love it. Not all my paintings have it, but you know what? It's kind of become my thing. And I've only used these two colors, so I hope to find some more metallic colors. That could be fun for my painting journey. I think that's enough of that business. And I just, again, just go loosely around. It's just like, don't be crazy. Oh, you know what? I didn't do this on the other one, but I think I'm gonna actually add some splashes of it because again, it's Christmassy. So I just dip it in and I just tap it around and I just make a mess of it a little bit. But this part again is going to take a while for it to finish up and dry because I got these big blobs, but I always like to do my Micron ink very, very, very last because that's how I add in all the good detail. And you know what? Maybe I should have sprinkled this on very, very last, but hey, you know what? It went down first today. I think that looks good for that. Okay, so now we wait the long awaited game of this stuff drying. So that's going to take us a little while. All right, you guys. So we are dried up. Oh, a little bit wet on those big gloppy ones on the side, but for the most part, we are dried up and everything is ready to roll. Let's see here. Okay, let's go with that. Okay, so we're gonna go and do the final touches with our. Oh, there's something a little bit wet around there somewhere. That's the one thing about that ink. It dries super fast. Anyways, we're just gonna go outline everything. So, again, like I just always say, you just feel it. Like, don't overthink what you're outlining, and just, the shape you want to have, but you also want it to still feel kind of like organic, kind of loosey goosey. You can go over it a couple times if you want. My only thing about that is that you don't want to take away from the beauty of the paint, right? And so sometimes I do little kind of like loop de loos. I don't know what you want to call it. Just some little, I don't know, like, what do you want to call it? I don't even know. Just some misshapen kind of lines, just so that it has that kind of more funky look to it. I'm sure you guys will all understand as we get painting that this is so my jam. I mean, you can probably already tell, but and I just kind of go around everything so loosely. Okay, and I love the way that it looks. It looks pretty good. I mean, you could kind of go in and add more to each one. You could add in some lines, say like maybe let's add some. Let's see what it does. Like you could kind of come down the center here and just add some black lines coming from the top. And that's going to just add kind of that like that look of, that's where everything's kind of coming from. So it'll add like some kind of texture kind of look to it. It'll help to add that. It'll almost make it look like it's what do you call that? Like ruching a little bit, but it's like gives you that just texture and that kind of this pen. This pen is kind of crappy. It's a little bit dry. Let me see if I can grab a different one here. That's better. That's the thing with these pens. Oops, I bumped the camera. If you don't put the lid on, they do dry up pretty quickly. That's just that fine little nib on the end. So yeah, adding that, this, I kind of like a little bit more texture into, though this has lots with the splatters of paint, but I do like to have just a bit more. Okay, so then when we get down here to the trunk, we're just going to outline it a little bit, leave it natural on the bottom. And then we're just going to go in and like actually kind of make some lines and just make it kind of like, just so it looks more kind of like wood. Just put a few lines on the one side and we can go all the way across with some and then some shorter ones. And then it's just like adding that little bit of detail into that. That's pretty much going to do it. And on this side we can do, here we can put, or up here, we can go happy holidays. And then you have it in there. You could paint that on there. You could do whatever you wish with that to kind of give your card the little Christmas jam it needs. You can put whatever you want. Again, this is just go with the flow and do whatever your heart desires. But when I say go with the flow, I legit mean it. Just roll with it. But yeah, you guys, that's pretty much going to do it here. All right, you guys, so that is pretty much going to wrap up this painting. It was kind of a quick one, but here's the part you want to do at the very, very end is you want to take this off. And if you want to still tweak it, by all means, go ahead. So we just want to take this off nice and slowly. So we're not going to rip our paper. Take this top one off. Slow, slow, slow. Like that is the key to the painter's tape because it's a little bit stronger than regular masking tape. I don't know where you find good masking tape at, but I've been using painter's tape for quite a while here, so you can see my red up there, but that doesn't bother me whatsoever. Oops, see, that ripped a little bit of it off too fast. It's just on the edges though, but you just really need to be careful with the painter's tape. So masking tape, definitely if you have it. I'm going to get some new stuff just because this is bad practice using something I shouldn't be, but I'm going to get some more. I got to find, maybe at the hardware store, they have some good stuff. But yeah, you guys, that's going to really do it for that picture. Let me know what you think. Did you have fun? Did you enjoy it? Do you like it? What does yours look like? I don't know. Can you put a picture in the comment section? If you followed along, show me yours and what it looks like. Obviously, this is like a pretty big card, but I mean, you could send it like, well, you can't send it right now because of the postal strike. But this could be super cute. A letter on the back to somebody, like that would be awesome. But yeah, I love how that turned out. I love the colors. I think it looks really pretty. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Did you enjoy this tutorial? Give me your feedback. What do you think? Give me a thumbs up. If you like the video, please do that. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my video. Okay, yeah, so if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. And then that way you will never miss out on one of the fun tutorials that we're doing or one of my shorts that I post up about what's happening. Yeah, so please do that. Thank you to everybody who's already subscribed. I think the channel has been going live for a few days now. I don't remember which day I did, but anyways, I already have like 30 some subscribers, I think, so that's pretty fun. And I've had some good comments already, so thank you guys for that. That's awesome. I wasn't really sure how this was all gonna go because I don't know, like the indoor kind of like the mic thing, and then the whole, it's probably making weird noises. The indoor audio is tough for me. And then just like how to position my camera is also interesting. I'm gonna have to get like an arm thing, I think that, but it will hang on nicely to my island. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. If you guys had fun or whatever, and yeah, please leave your comments in the comment section. Like and subscribe, do all those fun things. And thank you for coming along for our Christmas card. I'll be planning up something amazing for our next one here coming up. This was kind of a little impromptu, but it was something that I had on the back burner. I was like, I'm going to do it tonight because that'll be fun. So I'll come up with something else amazing. In the meantime, I'll probably start working on something, a personal project, and I'll post some shorts and stuff like that as I do that. But we'll post, or I will post those, and then I will come up with a plan for our next tutorial. And yeah, and if there's anything that you guys specifically want to see, I mean, I want to kind of keep things pretty simple right now because I want us to kind of evolve into where we're going. So obviously, but if there's things that you would like me to do, if you have an idea, I have to be totally honest, like portraits, pets, like that kind of stuff is not my jam. So I probably won't ever paint stuff like that. I am mostly a botanical painter. I like, you know, flora, I like flora and your greenery, trees, shrubs, things like that. I enjoy that. But if you're like wanting like, you know, landscape, I don't do that. It's not something I enjoy. So as long as it's kind of in my parameters of what I do, drop it in the line. If it's something I don't do, I'll just let you know. But because I don't paint things that I don't enjoy. So this is something I enjoy. So paint what you enjoy. And if you're on this channel, I hope it's because you enjoy my style and you enjoy what I also paint, and then we'll have a really good time. So anyways, you guys, thanks so much. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll check you guys next time. Thanks for watching.